Hey y'all, Tim Crane here. Today I just want to talk about a little bit about interest and length of term. And the website I use is called mlcalc.com. It's this website right here. And so I come here, if you do it with a mortgage type, if you know what the property tax is and the property insurance and all that other stuff, this is more for like a retail type buyer. I usually just come over here and click this, and I'm just going to use an example of $20,000 to just make it basic. I try to do my terms for 30 years. You know, this can be any set price of 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. That's why I'm using 20. You can just use it in whichever aspect you want. Also, I charge 10% interest. Some people charge more, some people charge a little bit less. It's all what you want to do. I set my interest rate at 10%. It's easy for us. It gives us a good number to shoot for, and it keeps our properties, the income we got coming from them at a certain rate. And so we like 10% interest. So that's why we use that. Anyway, so we're just going to do 20. I'm going to set this for the first payment of January 2014. That way it's showing you a full calendar year. 20 grand at 10% interest for 30 years. The payment is $175.51 a month. And after they pay 360 payments, this is the total amount they will have paid. And so I'm going to show you down here how this works. The first year, this is called compound interest, and this is why I love this strategy so much. It's awesome. You pay $175 a month times 12. 175.51 times 12 equals $2,106. So you're going to pay $2,106 a year. Of that $2,106, $1,995 of it is interest. $111 of it goes towards the principal. And so after the buyer pays me for the first year, they paid me $2,106. They still owe me $1,888.82. And so they will continue to pay me $2,106.12 a year for the next 30 years. And so by the time it really takes, I want you to see this balance over here. It takes them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years they will have paid me before they get below $19,000. So they will have paid me $12,000 in almost, $12,000 a year, $2,000 a year in interest before they get it down to $19,000. So they'll have paid me $12,000, and in 6 years they'll still owe me $19,000. Now you can use this whichever aspect of 20, 40, 60 you want to. If it was 40 grand, it would be $4,200 a year, and so on and so forth. You get the picture. But that's why I love this strategy, and then it shows by the time you get done paying at the end of by the end of the 30 years, they will have paid $20,000 in principal back and $43,000 in interest back. So for every 20 grand in the course of 30 years, you will get $43,000 in interest from that. And so you think, wow, that takes a long time to earn that interest. 20 grand for 43,000 you invested, it takes 30 years to get it back. But the whole beauty of this whole strategy is, it's not your money. It's other people's money. You're borrowing it. So here's where it comes into play. So you buy a $20,000 house and you sell it for $40,000. And let's say you borrowed the whole $20,000 to buy the house. And so you have a payment that you're going to make. Well, here's where I kind of use what I do. Of course, when you borrow your money, hopefully, you're not paying 10%. You can. I have private investors that I work with that I pay 10% to, because I know I'm going to make the money on the back end. So it doesn't really matter to me if it's 7, 8, 9, 10%. I don't really care, because I'm going to make it on the back end. I know I'm making 10% on mine. The people that owe me money owe me 10% interest with it. And so that I know that I can pay you 10% interest and still be a winner. But here's where it comes into play. Let's say you're getting your 20 grand for 7%. And let's say you're not paying it for 30 years, you're paying it for 7 years. Well, your payment's $232 a month, okay? So you borrow 20 grand and your payment to your person is $232 a month. But you bought a $20,000 house and you sold it for $40,000. You see what I'm saying? And so on this first, it's going to take you 7 years or 10 years to pay off your payment at $232 a month, or a total of $27,066. But when you sell yours, you're going to be selling a $40,000 note. Let's say you loan the whole thing, don't take any down payment, and you sell yours for 30 years at 10%. Well, then the payment's $351 a month for 30 years. So your payment's $232 a month for 10 years. Their payment's $351 a month for 30 years. And so on that same $20,000 that you're paying $27,000 on, because your total amount of payments was $27,000 to your lender, you're collecting $126,000. So you're actually making $100 grand from 20 grand you borrowed from somebody else. I love this strategy so much I can't even express. And to me, my strategy with my company is, for every dollar that I borrow from the bank, I have $2 that's owed to me. And so if I buy a house for 20 grand, I'm going to sell it for 40 grand or more, maybe, depending on the property. But I know that my goal is to make at least that much. And so for every $100,000 I owe the bank on, however many properties I borrowed money on, let's say it took 5 at $20,000 a piece, I owe them 100 grand. I've got at least 200 grand owed to me at 10% interest. And so with that rational thinking and the fact that I can buy these properties and do this, if I could borrow $1 million, and I know you think, well, damn, then you owe somebody $1 million, but if you could borrow $1 million and then have $2 million owed to you at 10% interest, that's 100 grand a year just in interest. That's a pretty comfortable living. That's 6 figures just from the interest that you're collecting from the money you borrowed, somebody else's money. And so that's why I use this strategy so much. I keep trying to do it, as many as I can do. I try to be in and out with as little as money as I can, but I create the income stream by doing this, and it works well for us. And if you guys got any questions, just let me know. I'm sure I missed something, but that's what I mainly wanted to cover when I talked about interest and this strategy. I think this is an awesome strategy. It is, I just can't express it enough. It's a good way to create wealth for an average man to do it. Anybody can do this strategy. And you don't have to create a lot. It's not like a crazy deal I'm trying to come up with where you're buying a $100,000 house for $10,000. I'm just saying, buy a regular house that's worth maybe $30,000, $35,000 and negotiate them down to about $20,000, $25,000. That's not unheard of. And then turn around and owner finance it for $40,000 or $45,000 so that you're doubling your money. Anyway, keep watching my videos, and thanks, guys.